Twisted Travelers Podcast, your weekly dose of theme park news and entertainment. And now, here to talk all things coasters, theme parks, and even more, here are your hosts, Jack Lathrop and Chris Jones.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of the Twisted Travelers Podcast. My name is Jack, and I'm sitting here, as always, with Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Going perfectly fine. I'm ready to record. We've got a bigger size news this week.
I know, it's so nice.
One ride of the week option left, some questions, and then a fun second half. So I'm excited.
Yeah, before we get to that, we gotta shout out our patrons. We love you guys, and they are Bryant, Graham, Grant, Jaden, and Mark. So, thank y'all for making this possible. I got a bill last week, and I don't have to spend my own money on it. It makes me happy.
Thank you to the patrons. That's all, y'all. If you want to join the Patreon, link in the description. All the money goes back to the show. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing we have to do at the top of the show, because you are not getting away with disrespecting Millennium Force like that, Grant, Zach, you are going to apologize to Millennium Force because that ride is a queen and you are wrong for not liking it. End of discussion. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right. Let's see. Let's hop into some news. So, first up, Playland's Castaway Cove is now under construction after it, had that fire. But good to see them getting back up.
Yeah, it was, when was that fire was right around or right after Christmas, if memory serves me, right?
I don't remember when. I just remember it happened.
Yeah, that's about. But it's good to see them rebuilding. And I know they said they're going to be open this summer, even though that building won't be finished yet. So good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, though, Indiana Beach and Mr. Gene Staples has gone on a buying spree, large enough to where he has now formed in IB. I'm assuming that's going to be short for Indiana Beach Parks and Entertainment.
Right. Where it was Fantasy Island they bought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now he
he has
owns 3 parks.
Indiana Beach, Fantasy Island, and oh Lord, why am I blanking on it? That one, that Clement, yeah.
So, shout out Mr. Staples for bringing all these parks back. We really appreciate it, sir. But yeah, so they're, I guess, a chain now. And we'll see. I mean, I want to see what he does with Clementon and Fantasy Island first. But I mean, if everything goes well and he keeps making money, we could see more in the future, definitely. But yeah, shout out Gene Staples for opening all these parks that we never got to go to.
He is someone we should try to get on the show. I would love to talk to him or his son. That would be amazing. We're gonna work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a fun episode for sure. Yeah,
It'd be like, okay, now tell us all of your secret plans, please. The first time we haven't had someone from a park on yet, have we? Not like I mean, we've had Joe on. He worked at Cedar Point, but I'm talking like.
I don't think we have.
The first time we do that, that's gonna be entertaining. Okay, here's a question for y'all in Discord. What park official or person would you want us to try to talk to first?
Also, join the Discord. Link in description.
Also, join the Discord. Yes.
But yeah, so that's a thing now. Thanks, Gene Staples, and I want to visit all of these within the next few years to show my appreciation for Mr. Staples.
We're going back to the shout-out. Bryant, you're wrong. It does not just turn into a test track after the first turn. Sorry, this is live happening in the Discord as we're recording this, and so anytime one of you insults Millennium Force, you're getting called out. It's crap. I just blew up not mentioning him.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, Chessington World of Adventures released concept art for a new land, and it looked like it included a shuttle coaster.
Okay, I'm pulling up the concept art or whatever it was right now. because when I looked earlier, I couldn't really make a guess as to what this was, but I'm going to take a little bit more in-depth look at it right now. But yeah, so new land, new coaster. That's pretty sick. Good for Chessington. They
This will
need
be
to
their
add more
second.
like this, considering Paulton's is adding pretty much stuff every year at this point, it seems like. So the two family parks are kind of going at it.
Yeah, so the way this looks to me is it looks like it kind of like launches backwards into a spike or something like that, and then it goes forward through a turn, like a zero G roll. What this looks like to me is either an RMC Raptor, an Intamin Raptor, or single rail, or maybe just an Intamin launch, just based off like this overhead layout view we get. Because the one thing it doesn't do is it's just like a gray line on the ground, but it gave us shadows, which gives us an idea of how hot or like the shaping of some of these elements.
I'm trying to find the picture now. Okay, there it is. I get what you're saying, but is Chessington gonna add something like that with it being a family park?
Well, that one thing going over like the entrance is definitely like an inversion. So
Backwards into the spike.
you can see the track rolls over itself.
That would surprise me. I'm trying to see if there's other pictures that show that. No, but so I mean, unless the concept art is completely inaccurate, it looks like it's not single rail. Looking at the pictures, so I don't
Yeah,
think it's not a Raptor.
it looks like mock. Could it be a mock? Is that a possibility?
I'm trying to zoom in some more. Okay, launch. Does it actually invert, or is that like a wave turn?
So okay, I'm Reddit, I'm looking at it, and it says word on the street says that this coaster will be an Intamin motorbike launch coaster and evidently a shuttle layout.
Yeah, so I
So
don't think that's an inversion. That looks like it's more of like a wave turn or like a wall stall sort of thing.
maybe. Um so I guess I'm just imagining now like basically the one section of Hagrid's where you shoot forward, hit the spike, and go back and doing that. I'm just imagining that being a coaster without anything else, which I think would be fun.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Intamin motorbike shuttle coaster. That's a good fit. Um,
I
but yeah,
mean,
no, it's good to
Hagrid's.
see them
There's
too.
no way this would like top Hagrid's, but Hagrid's is in my top 15. So
Well,
I
I
will
mean,
not
we'll
complain.
see if it's like Hagrid's or if it's like Wavebreaker, because they could go the model like Hagrid's, maybe where it's just like a multi-launch with the LSMs and it's more forceful, or they could go with the drive tire.
I
Uh,
hope they would go with the multi-launch, especially if it's going to have a spike like that.
mhm,
Just because Wavebreaker was fun, but those trains are not comfortable at all. Hagrid's trains felt like you were sitting on your couch.
mhm. Yeah, but good to see Chessington expanding. I mean, they needed something like this with Tornado Springs just opening at the other family park of the UK. So good for them. Definitely looks like a
Well,
good
and
fit.
Paulton's has apparently got another roller coaster coming.
Hmm.
Not, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about Cedar Point. I
Okay.
would normally not bring stuff like this up, but I can't ignore how bad it was.
Yeah. So if you haven't been paying attention, Cedar Point's opening weekend came and it was way overcrowded, and they had a huge issue where they have been closing down certain rides. And I don't know about others, but I know for sure Steel Vengeance closed like 2.5 hours before actual park closing, which
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous. But looking at it, it seemed like it was, your usual opening weekend issues. Other than that, that seemed to be the only thing that stood out to me that was like, that's completely unacceptable, and they need to change that immediately.
Yeah, so the things I heard were, of course, the line issue, which we'll circle back to in a minute because that's the big one. Staffing, but that's to be expected because
Hmm.
everywhere needs staffing. I had to answer the phone the other day at work and got chewed out because we didn't have enough staff. I was like, "Sir, if you want, you can come work for us." It's like I will gladly take you and train you as a cashier because I need cashiers right now. Um, and then the other thing, and this is the one that I have to scratch my head, is people complaining about masks and social distancing. It's like you knew in advance because they put on all their reopening guidelines that they weren't going to require masks in the midway.
Hmm.
So I hate to break it to you, but if you're someone who's still gonna be like everyone needs to be wearing a mask, don't go to a Cedar Fair park this year because it's not gonna happen. They are really relaxing protocols there. It doesn't bother me. I'm fully vaccinated. I've been, and I mean, I will still have my mask on at parks this summer until we get to a higher level of vaccination. But it's like one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be a thing you're gonna have to deal with, and please stop complaining about it because you have no control over it.
Hmm.
So, okay, the closing lines thing though is what I really wanted to talk about. Because they put out on when they put the reopening guidelines out, they said they were going to do this.
But 2.5 hours,
I agree because
that is too much.
I get closing at maybe an hour before park close, but I think if you're going to do that, you need to advertise it. So the park closes at 8. If the line for Steel Vengeance is over an hour long at 7 o'clock, it will be closed. Or
Hmm.
really any ride in the parks. Like if the line is over an hour long, we're going to close it. But Andrew Hyde, which he's done a lot of in-depth talking about this on his Twitter. So if you want a lot of information about it, go check out his Twitter from the last couple days. He pointed out that closing the ride line 2.5 hours early literally cut off 25% of the day, which is
Unacceptable.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the other thing I heard is they didn't just cut off the normal line, they cut off the fast lane line too, which is really going to irk me if that's the case when we're there.
Yeah, this is a thing that's like a really big problem for them, and I think any other year it would be something that when they saw the backlash they were getting and they saw the issues it was causing, they would pretty much change within the first couple weeks. But with all the staffing issues and everything right now, I don't see them changing this for a while.
I think what's going to happen is this last weekend was their opening weekend. They're blaming all this past weekend's events on it being opening weekend. I think if they're going to make a change, it's going to be because something goes crazy wrong this weekend or next weekend. Um, and I mean, as awful as it sounds, I kind of hope something does go terribly wrong because this needs to be changed. Because it's always been one of those things. It's like Cedar Point, you can get in line right as they close, you still get to ride.
Hmm.
That's an American thing. There's not a single park in America I know of that will close the line early unless they have a good reason to. Um,
I don't think I've ever seen it more than 30 minutes early here. And now Cedar Point's going 2.5. So.
yeah, Dollywood has been known to forget the closers until 15 minutes after park closing before.
Hmm.
So I mean, don't try to be Fuji Q Highland. That's basically the moral of the story.
Hmm. Yeah, just uh that's the only really big issue that I saw from opening weekend that wasn't expected already.
And again, everyone complaining about staffing, please stop complaining about staffing. They have no control over it.
Hmm. But yeah, so that happened. Cedar Point figured out.
Yeah.
Okay, next up from King's Dominion, Avalanche will not be open in 2021 We had heard some rumors about this with it being off of the map, and now it is confirmed, which either means A, it's going away for bigger expansion in the next couple years, or B, it's just for the 4D free spin construction, which I think is most likely.
Mhm.
But if it does go away, then I like Avalanche, but if it means we can get a huge new ride at King's Dominion, I'm not really gonna complain if it goes away.
Yeah, it was fun. I got the credit. I don't ever need to write. It was one of those things. We're going to King's Dominion this summer, and they said it's gonna be closed. I was like, okay, big whoop. I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna ride it anyways.
I was gonna ride I-305 on Timbers, and that's about it.
I'm gonna do Grizzly, Dominator, I-305, Timbers, and Racer
Racer.
75.
Yep,
Those are the
that's all
only
I
rides
want
I
to
plan
ride
on
too.
riding.
Maybe the
Um,
Boo Blasters.
I didn't like their Boo Blasters
I
that
I didn't
much.
do theirs because it had a long line. So
It's no, Canada's Wonderlands is complete garbage. I'd say theirs is probably my. There's four of them. I'd say it's in third place.
mhm, yeah.
No, Canada's Wonderlands is the worst. It's garbage. Yeah.
Okay. So we were just talking about Gene Staples and his new chain, and speaking of that, at Indiana Beach, their new Schwarzkopf. What's the name of it again? We keep just calling it Chimera, but it has a name now.
Is it like deer looping or something like? I just put Chimera because I was like, I don't know what it's called, and I'm probably gonna call it Chimera.
American Jura Looping. So yeah,
Okay, that thing.
that the Schwarzkopf that was formerly Chimera is vertical now, which it obviously a good thing. I think there were a lot of people who, when it first got announced, were hoping that it would be open for before or after Hollywood Nights, but that is not going to happen. Uh, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, there was a lot. I have a feeling a lot of that ride needed to go through at least
Hmm.
through some sort of inspection to make sure it was good to go before they built it. I'm praying. It's very slim chances, but I'm gonna say it right now. If it is open when we're driving home from Michigan,
Ooh,
so I don't think I've told you it's only like 15 minutes off the interstate when we drive back from
wait,
Michigan.
really?
It's not far off the
Okay, we'll
interstate.
talk later. You know what I'm thinking, but
There's another that's a discussion for later. There's stuff I'll tell you about that later. Yeah.
yeah, I'm curious as to the trains they're gonna use because obviously there was an issue with Chimeras.
Yeah, there were.
Uh,
Okay,
and
y'all, we are
apparently,
going to use PTC Buzzbar
heck
trains.
yeah. But
Honestly, I think
apparently
that would
they
be
were really
fine.
uncomfortable too.
According to Mark, that ride is so intense anyways, you probably don't need a restraint. So
Hmm. And yeah, so that's being built finally, which is good to hear. Indiana Beach expanding even more. And then, if the rumors are true that they bought the shuttle loop, this is a little bit of a good tangent talking point. Is that going to also go to Indiana Beach, or do you think Clemington or Fantasy Island's going to get it?
or did they just buy it for the trains?
That's true as well. But I mean, then they probably could have just bought the trains, right? I don't think they would buy the whole ride
That's
for.
fair. Although to be honest, like why would you sell the ride and not the trains? Because there's no one else that makes Schwarzkopf trains right now. You'd have to completely like I don't know. I would, of course, I want that ride, the shuttle loop, to survive, but it would not surprise me if they just bought it for the trains,
Hmm.
because there's no one else that makes Schwarzkopf trains. You either have to make it all yourself or
Yeah.
find trains from another ride.
Well, Premier makes them now, right?
Maybe.
Didn't Premier come out with a Schwarzkopf type train that could work on that has comfort collars?
Well, there's your issue.
That's the big problem. But okay,
I can see
if it
Gene
does
Staples
get
being like, "I'm
moved,
interested." Oh, you put comfort collar on? Nope, I'll just go buy another roller coaster.
and then everyone cheered. But if it were to go somewhere, it could really fit at any of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
hopefully
such a
that
narrow
in a couple
footprint.
years, maybe.
You really like Montezuma's Revenge, like its width footprint is like 25 feet. Now, I
Hmm.
mean, the length is massive, but the width, as long as you've got room for a station, you're good.
Yeah. But so shout out Gene Staples once again. Chimera is vertical.
Yeah.
Um, Next up,
Some
out of
RMC
Silverwood,
goodness.
yes, Stunt Pilot is testing. This is going to somehow open before Jersey Devil.
It is opening on the 29th, I think. That sounds right. I know I was texting with Sarah the other day, and I know she says they fly out on the 27th to go film the opening of it. So, yeah, it's gonna open before Jersey Devil, and I'm not at all salty about it.
No, not me either. But yeah, it looks like, I mean, it's going to be good. Everybody knows
Yeah,
it's
the
ready.
the one video we've seen of it was like they literally said this is the first test run, so it looked kind of slow through a lot of the elements, but it's literally first test run, so not much to judge it by yet. Keeping with RMC though, RMC has come out with what has to be direct competition with Gravity Group and GCI's smaller family coasters. It is the RMC Family Coaster.
Okay, everybody who made the memes about RMC Woodstock Express, you like
You
it
were
could happen.
right.
It could literally happen.
The ironic thing is I was bored in class one day because end of year stuff and nothing's happening. And so I texted Chris, I was like, I'm bored. What should I do? And he's like, design an RMC wacky worm. And I
This was the
designed an
same day.
RMC wacky worm. And literally like 20 minutes after I finished it and sent it to Chris, someone went on their website and found that they were doing the family coaster thing. I was like,
Definitely a little bit of a coincidence. But yeah, so RMC Family Coasters. That's pretty sick. Woodstock Express RMC 2021. Here we go. Kings Island, Carowinds, anywhere else that has them. Zach Zoomer, RMC.
please don't. That ride is too good. You
Zach
don't
Zoomer, but you
understand.
would get a new coaster.
You don't understand, like, actually how good that ride is until you've ridden it.
We'll see. But yeah, so that's a thing. Um, in our last bit of news, this has been a longer news, like I said. Zumanjaro and King Dakar can now operate together, and we have footage
I
of King
think
Dakar
if I'm
dropping with Zumanjaro, which
okay,
looks
if I'm not
amazing.
mistaken, the like coding of the ride is designed so that happens as often as possible.
That's fantastic. I
Because
can't wait
so
now.
one thing a lot of people don't know about King Dakar that one of the modifications they did from Dragster is that at the top of King Dakar's top hat there's actually a set of trim brakes to regulate how fast it goes down the spiral, because Dragster has been known to just yeet over the top of that hill and fly down the spiral. But also with those trim brakes, there's a sensor that is directly linked to the drop for Zumanjaro, so that when it passes over the trim brakes, they drop and they race down.
That's fantastic. I can't wait.
So
This made me want to ride King Dakar and Zumanjaro when I go this year even more. I'm so much more excited. But so yeah, that's a good thing. Shout out the New Jersey government for allowing them to do this.
how it's only been 7 years, but I'm happy. I've ridden both of these rides, and I'll be honest. I wasn't planning on riding Zumanjaro this time. No, I'm
Now you
riding it
are.
now.
Yeah.
Mainly because I want to have Kyle race me down, and I want to sit
hmm
on that far right edge so I can just watch that train. But
Yeah.
also, Bryant, you are riding Zumanjaro. End of discussion.
Bossy today. But yeah, so that was our news for the week. Next up, we have Ride of the Week, which we've been doing Schwarzkopf's. Bryant gave us that idea. Shout out him. That's like the fourth time this episode.
Yep, we can't do it. We literally can't
it
do it.
he's literally just part of the show at this point. But we only have one option left, and that is Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas, which Jack has not
Taking it
ridden,
away.
and I have. So this is my week. So Shockwave, I have a good appreciation for Shockwave because Over Texas wasn't opening rides on time the day I was there. A lot of them didn't open till 12 when the park opened at 10. And Shockwave was one of the few that was open. So yeah, shout out Shockwave for being open for me. I got one front row ride, which I regret not doing back now from what I've heard. But everybody talks about the crazy ejector that this ride has, and there is definitely airtime, but I didn't get any crazy ejector, which I assume is because there's more in the back. and I didn't ride in the back. But yeah, no, there's still some good air throughout the ride, mainly in the second half. Um, the double loops is incredibly intense. It's just gray out, come out, gray out again, and then back through. I thought the ride fit in really well in the back of the park there, right next to the road. I thought that was kind of a cool setting next to the highway, and it's my favorite Schwarzkopf right now. I haven't ridden Mindbender in a long time, so I think that that could definitely change my opinion when I do get to ride Mindbender, or even the one up in Vancouver or where. No, not Vancouver, Edmonton. Um, but yeah, so that's my favorite Schwarzkopf right now. There's good air, but probably better in the back. But I didn't get to ride there, and very intense double loops. That is Shockwave to me.
Yeah, it looks like a good ride. I really need to get to over Texas and ride it. I love Schwarzkopfs and everyone raves about this one. So
hmm I think the back is the special seat, and I just was not aware of that then. So I need to go back for that. But yeah, very, very quick ride of the week this week, which is expected when only one of us has ridden it. But now, the part that you all care about and have probably skipped to at this point. So, hey, welcome to the episode to those who just skipped to hear their question. The first one, and real quick, join the Discord. That's where you can ask the questions. Link in description. But our first question: do you think Rougarou will be the next to go at Cedar Point? It doesn't seem to attract many people and is one of the last rides that they seem to get up and running when fully staffed. This is from Grant.
no, I do not think it will be the next ride to go. That is quite simply, if I had to guess the next ride to go, it is Cedar Creek Mine Ride, because that sits on it sits on a lot of land, and the part of the park they seem to really want to focus on right now.
hmm I agree. That's what I was going to say. Cedar Creek Mine Ride is probably next up. However, maybe 7, 8 years down the line, I could see Rougarou going, since it does take up a good plot and it doesn't have high ridership. I like Rougarou. I thought it was pretty good, but I can understand them taking it out with low ridership. I mean, when I was there, I was on some pretty busy days. 2 of the 3 days I was there were really busy, and it never had more than a 10-minute wait, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, it's on a good spot of land, and if it doesn't get ridership, it makes complete sense to take it out eventually. But I don't think it's next up.
No, it's a B&M. It's only been 6 years since they did the conversion to floorless. And in the middle of the summer hot days, it does get long lines. It might not be popular among us enthusiasts, but I have a feeling it still gets good lines in the summer. So I think it's safe for now. I agree with Chris. 7, 8 years down the line,
Maybe.
might be on the chopping block. So
hmm
okay, next up, what is the last park in the US with a legitimate credit that you think you'll get to in your lifetime? From Anonymous.
This is a good question. I've been thinking about this one a little bit.
See,
Mm,
the hard part is, what are we defining as a legitimate credit? Because I think like SBF visas are out,
just
but
anything
then
with something decent size. I mean, I think that you get to decide pretty much what you consider. Okay, I think there's a couple that definitely are gonna be a while for me to get to. So two of them that come to mind is Castles and Coasters and
yep,
Cliffs in
okay,
New
yep.
Mexico. Um, there's also Oaks Park in Oregon, because who goes to Oregon for Gerstlauer? Um, I think I'll get to Silverwood before those, but still, that's a lot out of the way. And then there's a lot of small parks in the Northeast with decent sized credits that I doubt I will get to for a while, since there's also big parks up there that I will choose to go to first. Uh, but I'd probably say either Oaks, or the ones in Washington, or Cliffs in New Mexico.
Yeah, those are. I would probably say Castles and Coasters, Oaks. Those are both. And then, like you said, there's so many parks in New England that are just tiny, like one credit, but that one credit might be like
Decent size.
Rorosaurus. But still, it's like, when am I going to have the time to go get that? And do I want to pay the admission for it when I've got all these other big parks I want to go to?
There's
So
also all
that,
the New Jersey boardwalks.
yes. But okay, the one legitimate one I will shout out, because it's a mountain coaster, but it will be a while before I'm back, is the mountain coaster at Heavenly Ski Resort, which I got cheated out of riding because of COVID.
Hmm.
I don't know when I will be back at Heavenly, so I have no idea when I'm going to get that credit.
Hmm. But yeah, there's so many parks that are small with like one or two big credits in the U.S. It's hard to pick, but I definitely say some of the ones out west, probably.
Hmm. Okay, another random one. That little tiny park that's like 10 minutes away from Knott's with the
Oh, the one that has rewind racers.
yes, yeah, it's like,
What is
when
it
am I gonna
called?
go?
Matt
I don't remember.
something City, Adventure City, right?
Yes, it was like, but when am I gonna go ride that? Because Knott's is right there, and like
Just do it next
Ghost
time you're in
Rider
California.
exists, and then there's yeah.
Yep, Adventure City.
That's
That is.
such a good question, but it's such a hard question. I can't give you like a for sure answer, because it's also,
There's so
it
many.
depends on the trip too. Like, if I go to New England and I got the time, yeah, I'll try to hit all these little places, but I don't
Hmm.
know. That's great question. Can't give you a for sure answer.
Yeah.
So
Um, that was it for questions. So we only had two this week, and that's partially my fault because I forgot to put in the Discord to ask for questions until like 30 minutes before we recorded. My bad. But yeah, so join the Discord. I won't do that next time, and you guys will have your chance to ask more questions. And I mean, you can just drop them whenever you want. But so to close it out, second half of the show, we had what we think is a pretty decent idea, and that is IPs that deserve rides or lands or something along that line. Um, so yeah, we did 5 each intellectual properties that deserve rides or lands. Do you want to start us off?
yeah, so I think we'll go back and forth, and we already know each other's five, because we wanted to make sure we had 5 different ones. So the first one I came up with is one that I was like, it immediately popped to mind. I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and I think they are building one, but it's not happened yet. So I'm putting it down because I have a different idea from what's actually getting built, and that is How to Train Your Dragon. This is a film series that like a lot of people our age really, really, really like. I count myself among them, and you just got like you. It doesn't matter which movie you do it to; it would be fantastic. But just imagine some form of roller coaster. I'm thinking kind of along the lines of Hagrid's, or maybe even you could probably get away with a Velocicoaster. It's gonna be like a Universal style roller coaster, very theme heavy. Um, and just really just flying around the island with the dragons. Maybe there's so many different possibilities. I can't even tell you how I would want it themed. But it's got to be like a How to Train Your Dragon. I want the village. You got to have the roller coaster. It would be amazing.
Well, have you seen the not concept art, but like the mock-ups for what is believed to be the new area? It looks like it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be either a mock or Intamin family multi-launch in that
And that's
area.
essentially what I want, but I want it done to like the most perfect level of
Hmm.
perfectness.
Yeah. I'm excited for that area, just I mean mainly for the credit. I haven't seen the movies, which, what a surprise. But I'm cool with there being an area with a new coaster.
They're
Uh
good movies.
I have
They
heard
are
that.
good
So,
movies.
all right, my first one is Wizard of Oz. I say this partially because of nostalgia, with Wizard of Oz being part of the Great Movie Ride, which is now gone. But I would love to see a dark ride themed to Wizard of Oz again at some park. Don't know if any park has the rights right now. Doubt it, but that would be
Who
pretty
owns
cool.
it? Wizard of Oz. I want to know who owns the rights to it right now.
But I think that would be a pretty cool idea. Um, I mean, I miss Great Movie Ride. I haven't done Mickey and Minnie's yet, and it looks fantastic. But I mean, I still miss Great Movie Ride.
Yeah, that's a ride I'm sad I will never get to do. So, okay, I can't find. There's so many different Wizard of Oz's I can't. I think it's Warner Bros. Right now that has the. So,
Warner
Who knows?
Brothers movie world.
Maybe. Okay. Next up for me, going keeping with our generation would love it, and how has not been built? Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
Okay. How does one not exist a Phineas and Ferb roller coaster when the first episode of the series is literally titled Roller Coaster?
There was back when I was a little kid and Phineas and Ferb was like the show, right? At Hollywood Studios, there was references to this actually. I don't remember where. It's torn down now. I know it was in the area that either Star Wars or Toy Story Land has taken, but there were signs and stuff referencing Phineas and Ferb's roller coaster. So, little fun fact for you.
Yeah, but I want the full blown thing. Okay, and there's so much Phineas and Ferb. I've actually been rewatching some of my favorite ones recently because I've just been bored and was like, yeah, I'll watch some old Phineas and Ferb episodes. Um, there are so many options for this, but like the obvious one is do the Phineas and Ferb roller coaster, and I don't know if you do an actual roller coaster, or maybe you do a dark ride, so you can get away with some of like the crazy stuff the roller coaster actually did.
Yeah,
But come on, Disney, please, please,
that'd be pretty cool.
please.
I don't know what park it would fit in. Um,
It has to be in the backyard. That is the one. I don't care what you do. It has to be in the backyard.
yeah, I like the idea. I'd love to see one of those eventually. Although that's one that I doubt will actually happen ever.
No,
Uh,
it's a little too far gone now for.
mhm. Okay, my next one is specifically like a what is the manufacturer called? Hold on. Because this is a specific ride type I would want, and for some reason I'm forgetting the name. Where is it? There it is. Okay, like a one of the Set Point family suspendeds, like Canopy Flyer at Universal Studios Singapore. I would want to see an indoor version of that at a Disney park themed to Monsters Inc. and the Doors. I know that there is a Monsters Inc. ride at California Adventure, but this is a specific ride type. I figured I would just throw it in. But I would love to see that. I mean, that was such a cool scene already, and I mean, you could tell the idea for a potential ride is there with that type, and I think that this type would fit really well at a Disney park. Where? Not sure, but I think that would be sick.
Yeah, I agree. When you said Monsters Inc., I was like, it has to be a Doors. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, he said Monsters Inc. is like Doors ride. Doors ride. Give me the Doors ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monsters Inc. would be a fantastic. That's a good movie too. See, now I'm gonna want to go watch all of these movies we've
You're
talked
welcome.
about. So if you need me for the next like 24 hours, I'll be sitting on my couch back there watching movies. Okay, next one I'm gonna do is Ghostbusters. It is a timeless movie, and it has the exact makings for a shooter dark ride. Literally, the entire
Makes
thing.
sense.
Just just give me a shooter dark ride. Theme it to Ghostbusters. Have the final be against the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It would be
Mm-hmm.
perfect, and I could make it.
Universal used to have a Ghostbusters show, and I've always thought if they could get the rights, I would love to see them add a shooting dark ride theme to Ghostbusters there at
Yeah,
Studios.
I'm basically thinking Men in Black, but just make it Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would definitely work, and that would work also perfectly because just like at the end scene in Men in Black, when you have the freaking massive monster, you could do that with the Marshmallow Man or whatever his name is.
Literally, if Men in Black ever gets like not popular, just overlay Ghostbusters on it,
Yeah,
please.
which I doubt that will happen. There's too many
No,
Men in Black stands, but I like the idea for sure, and I that's one that I could realistically see happening someday. Um, okay, next up for me is one that if it ever happened, I would freak out, and I can already see the just walking up to it and getting goosebumps, and that is a Gravity Falls ride. Now, this is my all-time favorite TV show, and just imagine you walk up to the Mystery Shack going, and there is a dark ride inside or something along that.
Oh, there are
I
so many
I would
options.
have so many goosebumps. Oh my goodness. I can hear the soundtrack playing. Like, I would freak.
There are so many options with that.
That's another one that I don't think will ever happen. But Disney, if you're listening, please, I beg.
There are so many options with that.
Hmm.
Mm. Okay, next one for me. Keeping it with the Disney, because Disney just makes good movies, but this is actually a Pixar film. It's one of my favorite Pixar films, and that is Brave. Come on. Like, this. Just. There's so much just amazingness to work with in this movie.
I had an idea about Brave, actually. I just
Okay.
had one. Okay,
Oh,
so
spill. Come
obviously
on.
you could make it like a whole land and you can have your main, either dark ride or whatever you want, but you could also have, you could fit a steeplechase into that, in the land.
Oh,
That that
that'd be.
that was my small idea. I like that.
Okay. Steeplechase. Shooter ride. So you're riding the steeplechase and you've got like a gun and you're shooting arrow targets, like the opening sequence
SNS,
of the movie.
SNS.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen Brave?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. I'm just imagining her riding through the woods, but just put yeah. Oh, that could work. Okay, okay. Here's what I really want. It would have to be built to the Disney park, but could Disney not build it so you can go to just someone's like some crazy uncle's backyard so we can actually have archery shooting and axe throwing and all of the craziness that comes with it?
mm. I mean, not. Uh,
Come
I
on,
bet
that'd
you
be
you could find.
awesome.
I mean, it would be. I bet you could find some random old dude who would let you do that.
I'm just can we build it actually in the like appropriate setting? Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, but yeah, Brave is one of those movies. I made my mom watch it for the first time a couple months ago, and she's like, "That is a lot more dark than I was expecting." I was like, "I know, it's fantastic, right?"
That's
Um,
yeah. That's a movie that I could. I'm surprised that we haven't seen anything put into Disney parks for that movie yet. Honestly.
I know it's fit in Fantasyland so perfectly.
Hmm.
Okay, so yeah, Brave for me.
All right. Um, Next for me is one that is series of movies I have not seen in a very, very long time and do not remember super, super well. I don't even think I've seen all of them. I've seen most of them, I like to think, though. And that is Lord of the Rings. And the main reason I put this on here is it's such a big name. I already know that some park could just take it and do phenomenal with it, and it would make a ton of money.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
no, it would be another Star Wars or Harry Potter
Yeah.
level. I think the big reason it hasn't happened is because the two companies that would have the ability to do it already have Star Wars and Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Because these other places could do it, but they could not do it like as well as a Disney or Universal could. So
Yeah.
okay, and the last one I have as one that I know Chris and I both like, and that is Stranger Things.
Yes. That it would- it would be interesting to see how that could fit in as a whole land, but obviously this is another one that would make a ton of money. Since it's such a big series, it's possible, but there's so many options.
Yeah, this runs into like how do you do it because that's the writers for Stranger Things are meticulous with how the show is written. They so how do you work a theme park ride into the story realistically? I know it's at a theme park, so you kind of can bend the rules a little bit, but still, I feel like the Stranger writers would be meticulous about this. So the couple ideas I've had would either be some sort of shooting dark ride. It's like, come on, help fight Demogorgons or Demodogs or whatever the heck it is that they go with. Or other idea I had is maybe you do a show kind of similar to the Born Stuntacular.
Yeah, maybe. I could see it. Um, but yeah, there's so many different options you can do with that, especially if you just make it into a land. Where do you want to have it set? Because you could make it Hawkins Lab. You could make it. I mean, there's a lot of different options for where it could be set. Um, but that's another one that realistically, in a few years, I would not be surprised if some big chain, maybe even Universal, were to pick up the rights to and figure something out, because that would make
Yeah.
a lot of money too.
Yeah, Universal's already worked with them with the houses for Halloween Horror Nights, so
that
it
is
wouldn't
true.
surprise me to see it happen.
Right. And my last one is for you and Bryant, and that is Back to the Future. It is not a movie I have seen, but I'm putting it on here for you two. I know you guys want this, and I'm sure this is also an option that realistically could end up in a park someday and would make a good amount of money. Maybe Universal brings it back sometime. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
I think as
yeah.
this 80s, 90s nostalgia wave continues to sweep over like pop culture and over theme parks, honestly, we're going to, I think it would be realistic to see a return of a Back to the Future ride, see the return of a Jaws ride, see the stuff like that, because those are rides that people still talk about to this day and miss. Back to the Future, I think, yeah, you, it's been a hot minute since that ride originally opened, so like new ride completely. Don't go with the same system.
Mm-hmm.
Just new ride completely. Really have fun with it. Make it entertaining. I would fly down. I would fly down faster for a Back to the Future ride than I would for Velocicoaster, because Back to the Future is, yeah.
Disgusted. No. Okay, whatever. You can like the movie, but come on, it's Velocicoaster. It is. Look, just chill out. But yeah, so that was 10 IPs that deserve a land or ride. A little bit of a different second half. We hope you guys enjoyed it, but I think that's going to do it for this episode, which, even with the longer news, we somehow made this one of our shortest episodes ever.
Yeah. We spent like a good 30 minutes on news and like 15 minutes on our roller coasters and
Not a bad thing.
IPs. So, but yeah, thank y'all for listening. I have no idea what's happening next week. We're kind of like in a lull where we really don't know what's happening, so we'll be surprised too. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But before we go, we have to plug our social medias for y'all. If you want to keep up with what is happening in our lives, you can follow us at Twisted_Travelers on Instagram, at Twisted Traveler, but the R at the end of a 1 on Twitter. You can follow Chris at Twisted Travelers Chris, right?
Yep.
And then you can follow me, and that's on Instagram. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Thrilling Moment for all of those roller coaster pictures and hot takes.
Well, if you want the hot takes, you can also just come here. But yeah.
Or just come here and listen to us. But if you want them before, usually they happen on Twitter before they make it to the show. So.
Mm-hmm. But yes, so we appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. Obviously, Discord, Patreon down below. Listen to past episodes, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to the Twisted Travelers Podcast.